I'm going to show you everything you need to know to play with modular routers in Minecraft. This mod adds basically one item, the modular router. But the fun thing is it has all these upgrades and modules, making the modular router modular. And that is where it gets really, really interesting. So what I'm going to do to start with is show you a very simple example on how modular routers work, and then we're going to show all the different modules and upgrades and how they work individually. The mod gets really powerful when you combine these modules and upgrades together to do whatever the hell you want. We've got two examples in front of us here. So I've placed down a modular router. In my left chest here, I'm going to place some leather, and I want to move the leather from this chest. In fact, let's start off with this one. From this chest on the left, and I want to move it onto the chest in the right. I go into the modular router, and I'm going to use a puller module Mark 1 and a sender module Mark 1. I'm just going to throw these on the floor because I don't really need them. So these are made with a blank module and sticky piston. I think they're all made of like sticky pistons or chests, or it depends. From a blank module made very simply like this. So when we look at the module, the puller module, we can see the direction is none, the blacklist is empty. I would ignore everything you see here and just look at it when we put it into the modular router. You can hold down the selected keybinds that you've set in your keybinds to see more info about this module. Extracts items from an adjacent inventory in the module's configure direction. So how do we use it? Well, we go into our modular router, and as you can see here, we have modules. I'm going to put in a puller module. I'm also going to put in a sender module. So you can actually add a lot of different modules all at once in order to do whatever the hell you like. And that's where the mod gets interesting, like I said, when you mix and match to achieve your goal. The buffer is where the items are going to go into. Upgrades are obviously for upgrades, and I'll show you those shortly. So what I can do is I can press middle click, or C, as you can see on the UI, to configure once it's in. So on the puller, I'm going to middle click, and we've gone into that puller module. So up here we have item filters. On here we have the sides. I'm going to say left. I want you to pull from the left. Now, as we could see, so I'll throw these away over here. The module face is the front. So if I place this module down, this is the front, this is the left, this is the right. Pretty self-explanatory. So what I'm saying is pull from the left. This is the left, that's where our lever is. It's pulling it into the buffer in our modular router. That's pretty simple stuff, I think. In here, we have upgrades or filters. So I can, put a redstone augment in, for example. But more on those later. On here on the left, this is our filters. So we could say blacklist. Blacklist and whitelisting in Minecraft means if it's a blacklist, any items I put into here, like a chest, will not be taken. So, for example, if I take out the lever and I put the chest in, nothing is going to get pulled. But if I put the lever in, it is going to get pulled because it is not blacklisted in the router. If I whitelist it, however, then it's only going to take the chests because it's a whitelist. We have ignore item components. Take item component, for example, the enchantments into account. So if I put in a chest plate in here that had protection 4, then it's only going to actually transfer items with, what are they called? Enchantment, protection 4. Match any item in the filter. For example, if a chest is in here and lever is in here, it will take either of these items. Match all, then it must be all items in the filter in order to start taking them. If there isn't lever and chests, it won't take anything. Always execute. Basically, that's saying just keep going forever. Don't execute any subsequent modules on this tick if this module did something. Therefore, if this one did something, don't do anything with all these other modules. So stop right here after you've done that. If it didn't do anything, don't execute any subsequent modules if this module did not do anything. So if this one didn't do anything, then if it didn't do anything, then don't carry on. And the opposite, only carry on. Sorry, don't carry on if it did do something. Hope that made sense. I might have gotten it confused which way round, but it's pretty straightforward. Tag matching is things like forge ores, so iron ore and copper ore would all be taken if you had an ore in here. Match item database, that's things like damage levels, like durability on a weapon, for example. Okay, so that's how we use filters, etc. in our module. But where are we going to send all these chests? Well, I then have the sender module. Pretty much the same. I'm going to say write. It's then going to send those chests onto the right-hand side of our chest. But what if we want to use chests that are further away? Well, then we'd need to use a puller Mark II. If I hold down the keybind for more info, we can see here that I can sneak right-click an inventory to set a target. Sneak right-click any non-inventory block to clear the target. And the Mark II is capable of doing things further away. So I can sneak right-click on this chest, sneak right-click off it to clear it. So I'm going to sneak right-click on that chest. And then what I'm going to do is just break that, get rid of it. Delete these prior ones. So the Mark II is now pulling from the chest over here. So there's no filters or anything. When I put the lever in, what you can see is it's pulling from that chest. Doesn't need to be in a line of sight like it is here. I can put this in the middle. It's still going to pull them through. I've just connected it to that one. And then the same with the puller, the sender Mark II. I can then say, I can shift right click that one, put it in, and it's going to send the lever to that chest, for example. We then have the sender Mark III, which can actually send items from the router's buffer to any inventory in any dimension, which is absolutely fabulous, if you ask me. And that's the upgrade for 1, 2, 3. 1 can only do it next to the modular router. Mark II can do it anywhere nearby, and Mark III can send it literally anywhere. So now I've got some other things that we can look at. First up, we have the activator module. This will simulate right-clicking blocks next to the item or the router. So I can put this module in here, click in it, and what I can say is, do I want to right-click as if I was sneaking? Yes or no. Do I want to look at level? So do I want to right-click on this level? Well, I'm going to be using this lever as an example, so yes. Do I want to be doing it below, above, etc.? And do you want to right-click the entity, attack nearby entity, or just right-click? And I'm just going to right-click on the right-hand side of the module. So what that's doing is it's acting as if a player has right-clicked on the right side of the router and is pulling the lever. We have the breaker module, and I think at this point they're going to get quite self-explanatory, some of these, so I don't have to show you. Breaks a block adjacent to the router. So basically, if I put this in here, you know, on the right-hand side, matched by dropped items, matched by block, etc., I can put items in here, and on the right-hand side, it will break that block forever. Detector module, this is going to emit a redstone signal from the router in the module's configured direction if an item in the router's buffer passes through the filter. So basically, let's say I have it set up with these item ones over here. So I could have it in here that I've got the puller, and I'm going to put in another stack here. So that's getting passed through, right? That's getting passed through from here to here. Now, what it's saying of the filter is that if I put a redstone one in here, if the filter in here is lever, I'm saying basically when the lever, and you can't see it passing through the buffer because it's going straight out, but it is passing through. When the lever, because it's in the filter, when it goes through, let's say from the left, when it goes through the buffer, emit a redstone signal. And that's what that one will do. And that's where you can start to see that we can use these together. The distributor module distributes items from the router's buffer to multiple inventories with a choice of round robin, random, nearest first or furthest first. So again, you can just sneak right click to choose the inventories you want to go to and set it up as random, or, you know, do I want to go this inventory, then that inventory, which is round robin. A dropper module will just drop items in the buffer in the direction. So if I put that in here and say right-hand side, I can put the lever in the buffer and it'll just drop them on the right-hand side. Very simple. The energy distributor, I've set up a example here. This one on the left is full of energy, it's infinite. This one on the right is empty. This is very simple. So you have the energy output module, and this one will push energy from the router's energy buffer or any energy containing item in the buffer. So basically the basic one, the output module, and let's say to the right-hand side, if I, as you can see, it stopped pushing it because there's nothing in here. If I put this in the buffer, it will, or should be, right-hand side. It's in the buffer. Direction right. I don't know why that one isn't working. Pushes FE energy from the router's energy buffer or any energy-containing item in the item buffer. Maybe it doesn't like the mechanism item. Either way, I much prefer the upgraded version, clearly, which is the energy distributor. This one is much better. So what I would do is get 2 of these, and I would say energy distributor module. I'm going to put it in, I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to say transfer into the router. And I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to shift-click that one, and put it back in. I'm just going to break that one. So basically, this is going to be taking energy into the router from that energy cube. And I'm going to put another one, and I'm going to shift right click onto that one, and I'm going to say on here, transfer out of the router into here. But what we're going to do is get an energy upgrade, put it in the router, and there you can see we then have energy in the buffer. My apologies, I think I set that up a bit wrong there, or I don't really know what happened. But what I'm using here now is some energy upgrades to get a buffer in here, and then I've got my energy distributor module. And what I've done is I've shift right clicked it onto this energy cube, and I've said go into the router. So it's putting energy into the router. And then I'm using an energy output module, which I've configured onto the right-hand side, and that is going into the right-hand side and pushing energy into here. So I'm showing you both examples in one go, really. So I'm wirelessly taking into the router. I could also say out of the router, and it would go out into this cube. And then I'm saying use the basic one to do it just on the right-hand side. So these blue ones can only do sides, whereas the green ones can do wirelessly. Pretty much like I showed you with the item ones. We then have extruder, places or removes blocks in a line along the module's direction. So, it will just place blocks along here based on what you tell it. We have the flinger module. This will throw items from the router's buffer over potentially long distances. So this is interesting. If I just leave this as this, I don't know where it will go. But let's say I put in these. It will kind of, let's say up. It's going to fling them. And if I go into here and say 10, as you can, it's not, it's trying. There we go. As you can see, it's flinging them massively into the air, which is absolutely nuts. But you can set this up for different degrees and angles. So the speed, and you can use your cursor apparently, but it's not working for me. And yeah, you can change the axis, etc., that it flings them at. We then have fluid, just like I'm using these energy cubes. You could do the same with fluid tanks, etc. For fluid, there's a fluid Mark 1 and Mark 2. We've got a placer module that will place an item from the router's buffer as a block in the module's configured direction. So if an item comes into the buffer, like an oak log, this would say, okay, cool, let's place it on the right-hand side. So, for example, on here, what I could say is I could say pull from that chest. Let's put oak logs in here. And it's going to be pulled into here. And then I'm going to get my placer module, go into here and say right-hand side. And it will place the oak log on the right-hand side. I could then get a breaker module, which would break it into planks, except, well, break it into logs still, but you get the picture. And that's how you can use, again, another example of using multiple of them together. I'm just showing you how to use them, but once you start really getting into this, you can get really intricate. A player module remotely transfers items between a player's main or armor inventory. And while we're on that note, there is also the... Oh, where is it? Oh, that's in the upgrades. Actually, I'll explain that in a minute. Then we have the puller and the pullers, the puller and the pushers. Vacuum, it absorbs nearby items into the world, into the buffer, like a vacuum hopper. And then we've got void. Anything in the buffer, it will void. So if I put that in here, anything I put in here, basically, it will delete. Like if I take, go in here and I put oak logs, it's going to say void oak logs. Yet if I put leather in here, the leather wouldn't get voided, but the oak log would, and I'd whitelist it. So basically I'm saying if an oak log comes in here, pull everything from this chest in here, If it's an oak log, place it. But if it's an oak log, I also want you to delete it. And what you could do is have a sender module with a filter, sending out items you want to keep, but deleting the items you don't want, like from a mob farm, for example. And now we move on to upgrades. Before we get any further, I want to let you know that I'm partnering up with G-Portal here to give you 10% off your first month with them. They do all sorts of Minecraft servers, whether you want modded, Spigot, Sponge, anything you want. And you can swap out not just Minecraft, but any game on your server at the click of a button with GameCloud. Meaning the possibilities are endless. Again, check out the link in the description so you can get some money off with code Javier. So now we can look at the upgrades and augments we can use in here. They're pretty self-explanatory, most of them. The blast upgrade will make the router immune to explosion damage and boss destruction like withers. Camouflage upgrade, for example, will camouflage it. I take the camouflage upgrade, I shift right click on the grass and I put it into the router and it looks like grass. And that goes into the upgrades slot, of course. The energy upgrade, and a lot of these are stackable. You know, that's how you get your energy buffer in here. Fluid transfer upgrade, it increases how much it can actually transfer at once. Muffler reduces the sounds. The security upgrade, I can shift right click, and the owner is me. Only I can now use this router. If you want to add other players to this, shift right click it on them as well, and shift right click on them to take it off. Speed upgrade, it works quicker. Stack upgrade, rather than taking one item at a time, it takes more. Sync upgrade, now this is interesting. When I take it and I shift right click, can you see it saying random values? So if I just right click without shift clicking, it says 8. And I can put that in here. If I then got another one, right click and turn it to 8, basically that means that the tuned value of 8 in this router will work alongside, let's say, this one. And it means that they'll work in tandem when, you know, because it's going sort of every few seconds or whatever, this one at 8 will basically run at the exact same interval as this one. So if you're trying to sync up the timings on 2 or more different routers, that's how you do it. It's not about like sending it from router to router or anything. It means that they will action their modules at the same time so that they're synced. Fast pickup upgrade allows the vacuum module to ignore normal pickup delays on dropped items, so it's a lot faster. Filter round robin into the default any and all behavior. The module will match against a single item from its filter on each execution tick. Mimic allows the fake blocks placed by the extruder to also mimic lighting, redstone emission, and things like that. The pickup delay delays the picking up of items. Pushing increases the force by which the extruder can push entities away when extruding blocks. So I could push it, you know, a lot further. Range down reduces the range per augment. Range up does the opposite. Redstone means allows a module to define its own specific redstone behavior. Because, like, in here, don't forget, you can put upgrades and augments, like, into here. So actually, the way it works, basically, is that the ones that are, like, a bit cut off go in the upgrade slot. The square ones go in the module ones. So you can see square equals square, semi-square, whatever we're calling this, equals semi-square, if that makes sense. Regulator upgrade allows precise control over how many items are kept in an inventory if you don't want to move everything. Stack augment allows the module to process multiple items per tick. And then we've got the XP vacuum. It will do XP orbs on the vacuum module rather than items. And then we've got bulk item. Like if we go on the pull-up module and put in, how do you use this one? High capacity, high performance filter for large numbers of items. Place it in a router module's filter like any other item. Sneak right click. Oh, okay. So basically, if I go on the bulk item filter, as you can see, I've got an insane amount of slots. So I could put wood in here, this, right? And then I go into my router and I go into the pull-up module and I put that in there. Rather than only having 9 slots, it's now actually filtering on all the items in my bulk item filter. Same with these ones. Filter items by inspecting various properties of the item, the mod it came from, the registry name, or tags. So it's basically a way of, if you run out of slots in here, we can expand them with these filters. And there we go. That is everything in the Modular Routers mod. Again, I say it one more time, it gets really interesting, not when using each module in a router, but when you start using them all together, using the filters. I'm here to show you how to use them, but if you're really clever, you can get some really interesting setups of these and farms. Only thing I've just realized I haven't showed you is these two buttons. Eco mode. If the router is idle for over 5 seconds, it will enter low power mode and only run every 5 seconds. Basically, imagine the router is every tick, it's checking, do I need to be doing something, do I need to be doing something? If it's not running over 5 seconds, it goes, okay, I'm just going to let your computer have a rest and I'm only going to check for doing something every 5 seconds. It's lazy. And do we want it to always be running or only run on low, high, or never redstone modes? And there we go, guys. That is, oh my goodness. That is everything you need to know about modular routers. Thanks for watching, and before you go, I just want to say, if you want to join the Patreon in the description, that really helps support the channel, and you get access to our premium servers like this one here, which is currently ATM 10 at the time of filming. Of course, if you're watching a year after posting, it could be ATM 11, 12, or even maybe 13. We also do offer free-to-play servers, which you could just join the Discord to get, and if you'd like your own server, then check out the description for our G Portal 10% off with my link. Lastly, if you're new here, don't forget to check out the channel. I have an insane amount of mods available. As you can see, loads of tech mod guides, magic mod guides, utility mod guides. There is literally hundreds of guides that I have done. My goal here is to do every single mod in Minecraft.